Watson was a lady. She was 18.
Watson.
Helen's 92.
Mary.
Forms to fill in,
Yes.
Right.
Do you want that?
You know, I think so.
Explaining to you. Right. As you come into the society, the first question is, have you done anything about your family history? Because we have a package here which we give to everybody explaining what it costs to be a member. And from there, we ask the name. The name is printed on some of these microfiche, which we have in the cabinet here. What is important is actually if the people have got anything at all, because our records actually go pre-1855. Everything was registered after 1855. It was compulsory. English 47, Scottish 1855, and then everything had to go to Edinburgh to be kept in the records there. So from there we get the name. In this file here we have microfiche from Scotland, England, Wales, Ireland, Afghanistan, Germany, Mexico, Tunisia, Zimbabwe, USA, Australia, Canada.
Yes, too bad.
Our member is then advised to go to one of our readers, and from the reader they must take one of these markers. The marker is placed in the microfilms, microphone's taken out, drawers closed, and we go to the reader. And this is Barbara, showing one of our members. Which one is that you're doing, Barbara?
We're doing Watson. We're looking
No,
at
but is it IGI or?
the IGI
The
index.
IGI indexes, genealogical indexes, and the name Watson is being recorded. This is actually a chart which we call a beginner's chart as well. The beginner's chart starts off with the male side of the family at the present day, and we start going back the way for there's actually the father present, his father, his mother, and it goes on to his grandparents on either side of the family. From there it goes on to his great-grandparents, and that is the time that we can actually start to research in our society. The records we have is, as I say, generally comes back to 1855, pre-1855. Most of these things can be found. The records are births, deaths and marriages. Deaths gives the help up to this stage here, because from that they can get their great-grandparents' names from that.
And this is done through the parish records?
This is all done through the registration at St Nicholas House.
I see.
St Nicholas House. From there is recorded at St Nicholas House. These two, that there, and 2, 4, 6, 8 people, should they have died after 1855.
Yes, of course.
You see? So after 1855, we either can go to St Nicholas, find if they've got the records. If not, we've got to go to Elgin, or we've got to go to Peterhead, because they keep their own records. They've all got the same facilities, and they're all in lock-fast metal cases, so that there's no damage can be done. But also there are copies in Edinburgh. Okay? That's all we want us to know. And you are showing
And
them.
I'm showing it. Okay.
Now, what's the spit here? 28th of March.
Well,
Okay.
this is the Mormon
Mormons
church.
thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do something with all these entries,
Right.
which has nothing to do with you at all. But all you're interested in is just up to that point.
Right.
So
Okay.
now you've got his birth. Now the next thing you might want to do is get their marriage. The marriage of George Watson and Illabella Harper. Is it Harper's?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would just start looking. He was born in 1856, so you assume that they married before he was born. And so you just start looking from 1856 on back in the same area. And now, of course, he could have been the youngest child, so they could have married quite some time before, and maybe not in this area, but hopefully.
So
So I'm looking back. I'm just see the husband, James. Oh, this is James. We need to look under George.
George, yeah.
So yeah, you just kind of go up like that.
Could you put it, see that Watson, could you leave it at that? Put that Watson straight in the centre and you'll get that name.
Okay.
You managed to
We're
pick
look-
that up?
We're looking at the Watsons. Of course, we can't do any more research now because to verbalize what we're doing here. Huh? Okay, so we're looking at George.
George is just
Oh,
bit
there it
here.
is. There it is. Okay. Okay, as I say, we want to look anything before 1850. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot, but you see, you can't go back too far. Because you're going back
This is
to
the order.
Yes, it's in chronological order. So,
Which is the succession of the churches and that's
but when you have both names like that.
when all these the Free Church and all the different names, the Presbyterian and such like, the movement of them made people do the things that well they left, they could leave one church and go to the next one type of thing, and I think what really maybe like ironic.
Did this make things difficult for
Well,
your
it does.
research because of
Yes,
the
it
change
does.
into
Yes, it does. Because when it comes to the thing, if they went to the Episcopalian religion, then a lot of the Episcopalians wasn't recorded. This we now have, as one of our researchers is doing, the Episcopalians, and after putting it into book form, which has helped a great deal. Our researchers we have delved into places where other people fear to tread, and they've got in with the, like maybe talking to the minister or the priest or whatever, you know, any records at all they've been able to pull out.
Right.
And Archie's actually here. Here's Archie, here's the Episcopal man.
Right. First of all, tell me, research inside the shop here is cut down to what? Within the shop itself?
Oh, well, what we can do is look up the records which the Mormons have compiled. The Mormons are the people that have compiled it.
Is there any chance
And we buy the microfiche from them. This is run as a charity, and all our helpers are voluntary helpers. The shop has, 3 years ago they bought the shop, and the society's been in the go for 11 years.
Just gonna look at that.
The area which we allocate for our book sales. We have our own publications here, of course, all our memorial inscriptions and various other publications, our back numbers of our journals. But we also have a large number of books which are of interest to people who are doing research into Scottish family history, and indeed family history throughout the United Kingdom. Up here on the wall we have also maps, which are very interesting for people, 19th century maps, through which they can locate locate farms which have perhaps been long disused and don't appear on modern maps. An area for research upstairs in the microfiche microfiche of old parish records and other records. People sit at these machines here and look at the microfiche through the viewers. Microfiche cabinets over here. Now this might be a bit more difficult for here. Keep all these microfiche cabinets here. We have records which cover the whole world. As you can see, we start here at Afghanistan, going straight through to Zimbabwe. These microfiche are prepared by the Mormon Church, and they film records from all over the world, index it, and then sell it on microfiche to any organisations or indeed individuals who are interested in buying them. What you've got to remember, of course, that these are just indexes, and that you should always go to the original record if you want more information. Up here on this side is all Scottish interest, starting with North East of Scotland records and then going on to different parts of Scotland. When we get up onto here, the middle part is mostly concerned with overseas research, and we've got quite a large number of books for searching overseas. And then when we come up onto this side here, this is more concerned with England and general books on researching the family history. Well, this here, I suppose, is the nerve centre of the society where all the business goes on. Although our library overspills here a wee bit, up on this side we have all the exchange journals that we exchange with other societies in the UK. Members have done quite a lot of work on the back here. You can see this area up round here, which was actually built on by one of our members over the stairwell, and it houses our microfiche reader and printer. I talked about the microfiche before. We can actually print out pages from the microfiche themselves, and that's a marvellous machine that does it. Further up nearer the wall we have bits and pieces, empty boxes, which although they looks a bit of a mess, we always need these boxes when we're sending out our quarterly journal. This was given to us by one of our members. It's an 1891 edition of the Dictionary of National Biography, and it is very, very useful for people who are researching, well, not only people last century but in the centuries before, because some of these people are not included in more modern editions of the National Biographical Dictionary. Well, downstairs here is divided into two sections. This section here is actually our exchange journals with overseas societies, and we have a large number of exchanges with especially Canadian, Australian and New Zealand societies. The rest of the area here is given over to a store for our own publications, and we keep them in an alphabetical sequence in boxes here. One or two other little bits. This is a machine that we use for giving talks. A number of our members go out and give talks, and the slide viewer there helps to illustrate various points that they're talking about. Well, down here we have all our microfilm. We've got 4 microfilm readers here. What you're looking at now is pretty much like the microfiche printer upstairs. This is actually a microfilm reader printer, and in the same way that the one upstairs prints from microfiche, this one actually prints from film. The kind of records we have down here are pre-1855 Church of Scotland records for the whole of the Grampian area, and also census records from 1841 to 1881, again for the whole of the Grampian area.
So what's this up here?
That's a microfilm reader. You get different shapes and sizes of microfilm readers. Some of them are automatically operated, some you've got to operate by hand. We keep all the microfilm in drawers, cabinets, like we have upstairs for the microfiche.
1841 census of Forg, Aberdeen. Searching for the name of Patterson. I can take a photocopy of this one, which costs 35 pence. It has to be turned the machine before we can take a photograph of it. And up down. It's got to be centered off. No, I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's got to be straight up the other way. I've turned the machine anyway, because most of the censuses have got to be turned to be photographed, but this one should to be.
Holding high. We've got this blank line.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a blank line? Yeah. You probably have edited this, eh? No.
I'll turn it back.
Oh no, you need to take it. If you, it depends on what.
I won't take a photograph unless it's been turned this way.
Something wrong with this. That's what it is.
It's got to be perfect.
It's not that it's got to be perfect. You don't have the bottom thing.
Yes.
You don't have it. It's not there. And lo and behold, we get a photograph of the actual film.
Which tells you that the person that you're looking for is the age of the person, and if they were born in that district, and their occupation.
Right.
Children, if they're married. 41 does not give you as much as the 51 and 61. We do have censuses up to 81. 35 pence a copy. Down to 81, and all the different districts, right? Aberdeen to Orkney, Ross and Cromarty, Shetland, Kincardine, Nairn, Moray, Aberdeen, Kincardine, Nairn, Banff, Aberdeen, Kincardine, Nairn, Banff, 71, 81, and 81, Moray, Nairn. Old parish records come from Aberdeen city and then outskirts. Kincardine, Banshire, Moray, Nairn again. The old parish records give you more than the microfiche upstairs. The microfiche upstairs gives you birth, deaths. No, sorry. The microfiche upstairs gives you births and marriages. The old parish records can sometimes give you, not always, but give you witnesses to the marriage and witnesses to the birth, which sometimes leads you also to a relative in the family. Yeah? So we go to the machine which has got a which has a marker, and this is number 2. I want to have a look at a boy, so I'll put the marker into a microfilm for one comes out. Ones cost anything from £1,800 upwards. This is thread, it's thread on by hand. A marvellous thing when everybody's doing it voluntarily to help people.
Yes.
The people come from all walks of life, from all over the world, and are very deeply interested in their Scottish roots. I sometimes find that a person would give their right arm to be part of the Scottish heritage. Now this, as I say, is a Boyne, and it happens to be a Boyne records from births are from 1752 to 1854, marriages from 1754 to 1854, and deaths 1754 to 1809, which is very good actually, because these records have all been taken off church books that the minister had kept. Difficulty is sometimes we've been told that with these records, sometimes a minister would go from one church to the other. He maybe had a charge in a Boyne, and then again he could have, a few years' time, gone to another parish, taken his book with him, being his own property, because at that particular time, paper and everything was not as plentiful as it is today. So there I've got here 1761. There's a George Davidson in Belwade, had his son baptised before witnesses, John Davidson and George Begg, in Dury Gesk, named Robert. So therefore no wife is mentioned, because they didn't think it was necessary that the wife was mentioned at that particular time. She only had the child.
Mm-hmm.
But it does come about in some of them that they maybe go a bit further on and find that the mother has been mentioned. So some of the reading you will see is not just that clear, so you've got to be very, very intent on close reading or magnifying, which again is 1781, that is. But you see how the 8 has been written, you would think, oh, that's maybe just a 1701, but it is an 8. I myself am doing my family name. Well, my father, I was born of a Neil and a Guthrie, and not knowing, picked up a book upstairs which has got the burials of Deeside, and discovered that one of my father's ancestors, Robert Neil, son of Peter Neil from Boyne, had a son. Peter had Robert, Robert had Robert, and the son Robert was entered into the university in Aberdeen as one of the youngest entrants at the age of 13. And he went on to be one of the most brilliant scholars and wrote Sanskrit, which is the Indian, and he actually, Robert, his father, Robert Neil, was a minister at Boyne for 44 years. And that's the type of thing, should I be able to find anything that he's written, I've only been doing this for 2 years, since I took early retirement from retail trade, and needed something to fill in my time, like a lot of people at my age is doing, and I found this was just the greatest thing. Here we have, in 1813, a list of marriages in a Boyne. And again, which helps your family research. And this particular one is actually a William Clark in the parish of Colston, and Anne Anderson in this parish. So that means that they both came from the same parish. And at the side here you get the 1813, you get October the 24th, and it's Clark and Anderson being married, right? And then underneath, that's all, there's no witnesses to that, which you do find in some again later on. The next one is a Ray and a Begg. So Alexander Ray and Isabel Begg both in the parish, were married. Your ancestors written on paper, someone that you maybe knew as a name, but never knew as a person, is the thrill of a lifetime. The people of my age group who really like to do this, it's been the best hobby that's ever come about. Schools are doing it, educating the youngsters to get that feeling to belong to something or somebody, and we all need that.
Name anything?
Research into the Episcopalian side of this.
Yes, certainly. It started about 25 years ago when the bishops asked me to transcribe and index their records. And over that time I have more or less completed the whole of the Diocese of Aberdeen and Orkney. There are only about 4 chapels to complete. We're also working on the Diocese of Brechin with the permission of the Right Reverend Bishop Luskin, who is now retired. 3 of these chapels have been completed, St Haven, Muckles and Drumreethy. We are now progressing slowly down south to Montrose, Dundee, where the Provost Sanderson, has gladly given me every cooperation he can give. I don't think that in my lifetime I will see the completion of the whole of the records of the diocese in Scotland, but at least something of the Diocese of Aberdeen, Inverness and now Brechin will be held for posterity in libraries throughout the country. There are some varying degrees of the contents of the Episcopalian records, because following the 1745 rebellion, when the episcopacy was strong in the northeast of Scotland, they were suppressed by law and by Cumberland and his forces. So the difficulty arises in tracing your ancestry between 1745 and approximately 1780 in the Episcopalian Church has proved to be difficult indeed. But further research into the actual register itself has revealed many facets which can bridge this gap of the approximately 40 years. During that time when Cumberland was destroying and sacking the various chapels throughout the northeast, he destroyed again sometimes the records of their baptisms, marriages and deaths. And during, just immediately after the 45, Episcopalian clergymen were allowed only to preach to, say, 4 or a maximum of 5 of the congregation. And he would carry small notebooks with him in his possession, and going around the different farms he would baptise the children of the parents of the Episcopal faith. These have survived, but again, as I'm saying, a great deal of research has gone into this over the past 40-50 years, and we are still unearthing records of the Episcopalian Church supposedly be lost covering that period of time. I can only hope that others will come to light, and if anyone who is listening to this knows of any records at all of the Episcopalian Church who is not in the official list surveyed by the Scottish Record Office and myself over the past 20-25 years, we'd be pleased to hear from him. I think this brief sketch of the Episcopalian records, which is fascinating indeed, because the episcopacy was strong in the northeast of Scotland, and their heritage should be preserved for posterity. And I think that is briefly what the Episcopalian records mean to me. It is history in the making, and history in the past which is coming to light daily, or I should say yearly, during my researches into the history and the registers of the Episcopalian Church. It covers this brief summary of the records of the Episcopalian Church.
Well, cheerio, you old bugger, and don't bother us again.
That's what you feel like doing. Roy, I've never heard that before. He's up to the eyes in it, right, you know.
This is here is another of these stupid letters that we get all the time.
Right, let's hear
Let's
it.
see what-
See if we can decipher it for you.
It's handy.